Hey everybody, it's Safi and Marco. Dish Out on Movies, the only movie review show on YouTube to review movies in terms of food. It's just Marco here once again, and this is not really a video that I wanted to do at all, actually. I was really excited at the beginning because with these American Horror Story seasons, it's been a lot of fun to rank the characters and have my hot takes about them and just share my opinion, but not with this season. This season was the opposite of fun. There were a lot of people who said even though it's political propaganda and it's very obnoxious and stupid, it is very, very funny, and I like to watch it with a different kind of perspective and just making fun of it and laughing at how bad it is. And no, can't do that because unfortunately this season is so heavy-handed, so dark and negative. You can't relax and enjoy it like that. It's just not. Maybe if you took clips out of context, like, I don't know, the scene where, the scene that I saw people laughing about was the one where the neighbors come over and they're throwing the Taco Bell coupons in Allie's face. And, that scene seemed like it would be funny out of context. And so maybe if you just took all the clips out of context, you could laugh at the season. But when you watch it all at once, the last thing you're doing is laughing because it's just so bad. It's so awful. I'm so shocked that it was this bad because I didn't even rank all the characters. I only ranked 6 characters out of all these people because I really felt like there were only 6 people who I just didn't want to put at the bottom because, everybody else was just awful to the point that, I'm not going to ignore how bad they are as people just because I like some of them as actors. So the worst character is obviously Charles D. Watson. There's no need to explain that. He's a real bad guy. Real. And then, of course, next to him are the 3 Manson sisters who, accompanied him on that night and, were just as bad as him. They're right there, too. And then next to them is another real-life baddie, and this is Valerie Solanas, played by Lena Dunham. And already the fact that it's Lena Dunham, that's already a huge, ugh! But just the fact that this character, I wish that I never knew that this woman existed because she is the most obnoxious, evil, man-hating, psychopathic person I've ever heard of before. She is the ultimate feminazi stereotype in a really bad way. And what's even worse is the fact that she accused Andy of stealing her script and purposefully losing it or something. Well, guess what? Years later, they actually found her script, and it was in a box with lighting equipment that Andy had. So he never even lost her script. He collected stuff, and he had too much stuff, so he couldn't find it. That was his crime against her. And also apparently, because she shot him, and what she did led to his death 19 years later. He also, when she asked him for some money for compensation for losing the script, he said, "I'll give you that money that you want, and I'll give you a role in my new film." And the day that she was supposed to come to set to be in the film is the day that she came and shot him. That is how awful of a person she is. Really, really despicable human being. And besides that, she was so obnoxious and babyish. I don't know why I'm like, babyish. She's babyish. And next up is Rick Springfield's character, which Safi never even recognized him. I had to point out to her that it was him. This was a real cult leader, I think. Like, honestly, I kind of feel like it would have been so much cooler if, like, instead of the whole story being about Kai, it would have been a lot better to me if the whole story was about Rick Springfield as this, like, realistic cult leader in the middle of nowhere with this fucking huge house where he's got all these displays with people being killed. You could have, like, a compound in the middle of nowhere and just all these crazy hillbilly follower types. And, you know, like, you could have done a lot with that story. And I feel like that would have been such a better story than the one that they went with, because I actually felt like that was a real cult type thing. Unlike Kai's bullshit Blue Boy cult, which didn't really feel like a real cult at all. It felt like fan fiction. Next up is all of the bad real life people that Evan Peters played. So Charles Manson, Andy Warhol, the Heaven's Gate guy or whatever, the Waco guy, Jim Jones, and then another one. You know, Evan Peters was given a chance this season to really, really showcase his acting ability. And I don't know why all these people were paired together, because, you know, I don't think that Andy Warhol is a bad person at all. Or, you know, even if he's a jackass, I don't think that he's as bad as all these other people who are actual, like, cult leaders. You know, and come on. Because I would say, like, he also did the best job with Andy Warhol. Out of all these performances, I felt like that was the best one that he did, besides Kai. So, I really wish that these were separated. Next up is the young girl who was the girlfriend of Valerie Solanas. And, you know, obviously she's just a man-hating bitch character who likes to kill people. And then right next to her, I have the older version. And I really feel like I think that this is the only season where Frances Conroy has not been a great character. And I think that that's another reason why this season sucks, is because she was really good last season, and in this one she was, like, heavily underutilized, and her character was just terrible once again. Basically, she is determined to be the real manipulator behind Kai, and she is making him do this cult thing so that he can inspire female rage to fight back against it, and so that women can take down the patriarchy. And so you guys see how Valerie really screwed up this season too. Like, that's just stupid. God, is that stupid. And this character, she really never did anything of note. Like, she was really weak. And next up is the Trump supporting character who was the cashier at the store, the guy who cut off his own hand. The reason why he's this high is because he cut off his own hand, and I did think, like, that was kind of cool. Like, it was really creepy too. That was one of the few scenes of the whole season that I liked, was the scene where at the beginning of that one episode where Kai takes him in to vote, and it's just like this really creepy, like, out of nowhere thing where there's this guy with a chopped off hand and there's blood dripping everywhere and he's going in to vote. And I just felt like that was actually kind of creepy. I liked that part. But this character, he is everything that people always say when they talk about Trump supporters. He's a stereotype. And I really feel like one of the biggest issues of this season is that these characters are all stereotypes. Like, and I just don't know why that's good, because like even if you wanted to tell a good and smart political story, the stereotypes should only be there for comedy. You know, like in comedic movies, I totally understand why you have like stereotypes, but they're also better written too. Like you think about The Breakfast Club at the beginning of the movie, where Anthony Michael Hall says that, you know, we are all stereotypes no matter what we write in this essay. So why should we even care about writing this essay for you? Because, you know, you already thought about who we are before we even came in here. And so that, like, those characters were really, really good, though. They weren't just stereotypes. These characters are just that. They are just stereotypes. And I really hate that, and I don't like that in television unless it's for comedy. And next up is Emma Roberts' character, the slutty reporter girl. This is one of the weakest characters that she has played in the whole series. Like, her character comes on, and she sleeps with her boss, and then she gets killed. That's all she does. She is not a character at all. And it's too bad, too, because you could have, if you were a good writer, you could have done like a subversion where she ends up becoming like a really strong character, and she helps take down Kai's cult, and oh shit, I just skipped right over Kai. I just skipped over like the main character of the season. Okay, so Kai Anderson was below Emma Roberts, obviously. I do not think that because she's a slut that she is worse than a cult leader. I just mistakenly jumped over him because, ugh. So Kai Anderson, I really feel like he's probably the most wasted character of the whole series. Because you look at the concept for his character, and he's got blue hair so that he can kind of be like an anti-SJW. And it's Evan Peters, and he's crazy, insane, and his whole platform is that he wants to cause chaos everywhere. But we never see him cause any fucking chaos except for with Allie's personal life. Like, in the first half of the season, the way that Allie was going crazy, that was the only, like, chaos that I felt the whole series, the whole season. And so I really wish that we could have gotten, like, a real, like, Joker-style character with Kai, where he was going around causing real chaos, instead of just committing a bunch of random murders so that it'll scare people. You know, that just was not chaos to me, you know, because you think about how could you commit chaos-style killings? Well, you look at the Son of Sam killings, which were an act of a real cult, the Process Church. They committed these killings to cause chaos. And that was understandable because they're just shooting people right out in the open in this huge city, New York, just killing people right out in the middle of the street, taking videos of it and selling it. And, that was real chaos that they were causing. What Kai's doing in this season isn't at all. And unfortunately, he gets more and more unlikable every single episode. Like, no matter what little good things he did in the season, every episode, he just gets more evil and more evil, and his headquarters is his mom's basement. And that's another thing that sucks, is that they use his character so many times in the season to talk about their political agenda talking points. So, like, just the fact that, like, his headquarters is his mom's basement, like, that in and of itself is stupid. And the worst part is at the very end of the season, when he confronts Allie, and he gives this sexist, like, monologue that's just so cringeworthy, stereotypical, where he's like, you need to learn your place and go in the kitchen and make me a sandwich. And then she comes back with her stupid agenda response about her being a nasty woman. And then, like that, God, that was so cringeworthy. Oh, oh God. I don't know why they would do that. They really lost a lot of points this season as writers. Like, I really... I think that this season is what killed American Horror Story. I think that going this far and going this over the top and going this, it broke them, because it broke me as a viewer. Like, when I saw that episode 7 about Valerie, I was like, what the hell is even this? Like, what is this? Next up, and by the way, all these characters are in the fuck you tier. They're not really ranked very much because I really don't care. Like, they're all terrible people. They're all the worst fucking people on the face of the earth. Fuck all these people. Next up is Ivy. Now, I did not recognize that this girl was the redhead from Scott Pilgrim. She looked really cute in Scott Pilgrim, and she looks like really bad in this. She looks like the ultimate stereotype of a Hillary supporter. And so, like, you have her, and then you have the Trump supporter, and it's just, like, stereotypes everywhere this season. And her character, she made her wife go insane. She worsened her anxiety. That's just evil, plain evil. And she joined Kai's cult for, like, no reason at all. Like, the reason that she gives, where she's like, there's this one time where Allie wanted to feed her own baby, and I was like, where? And I'm like, fuck you, Ivy. Fuck you. Seriously. One of the best moments of the season is seeing Ivy, like, go off on Allie. And then Allie's like, oh yeah, I poisoned the wine. And then she just fucking dies on the floor, and she's like in so much pain. Like, that was one of the best moments of the season, because I was like cheering. That was one of the only times in the season where I was cheering that, like, finally this character got what they deserved. And by the way, Kai's death, like, I would have wanted, like, such a more brutal death for that character, so I was really disappointed with that. And then next up is the gay cop. Now, this actor, I don't know what happened with him, because, like, he was on Team Wolf back in the day. Excuse me. And that's what I think of this character. He was on Team Wolf back in the day. And I really liked Team Wolf a lot until the fans ruined it for me, and I never finished it. And then, like, he left the show, and then he came out as gay in real life, and then, like, after that, like, I guess he just does trash now like this, because this character is one of the worst characters in the whole series. He's a Nazi policeman who liked to abuse women because he was a closet homosexual, and then he finally comes out, and then he joins Kai's cult, and it's like, God, this guy is really, really evil. He's just the worst, and the performance that this actor gives is just awful. I mean, it's such a bad performance. I mean, if I had seen this guy perform for one single day on set, I would have fired him the next day and immediately started looking for replacements. Immediately. Because, like, what was this guy doing here? And next up is the racist boss from the Butchery on Main restaurant. he was just a racist, but, like, he didn't deserve to get killed either, so I don't know, just another shitty character in the shitty season. And next up is the cameraman, who got one of the worst deaths, or might be the worst death of the season. I mean, just getting nails nailed into his head until he dies. Like, that was such a brutal and disturbing death scene. And it would have been so effective if he was an actual, like, innocent character. But he was in Kai's cult, and he participated in these killings. Never did anything about them. And, yeah, he's a piece of shit. Wasn't a very likable character either. And next up is the news guy. Is he an anchor? Is that what you call it? I don't know. This guy was just really, really bland and boring. And he has a gimp at home who he's, like, torturing for some reason. So, like, he's just another shithead. Like, and they're about to kill him, and you're like, oh no, don't kill this innocent guy. But then he's like, I have a gimp up in the attic. And you're like, oh, fuck this guy then. He's a piece of shit too. Like, he deserves what he gets, basically, for doing what he did to that random gimp guy who we never find out anything about. And next up is Winter, Kai's sister. This is a really weird character because she goes back and forth because she really doesn't have a backbone as a person. Because, like, at first, she pretends to be, like, this crazy feminazi to appease Allie and Ivy. But then, like, when she's with Oz, she's, like, the opposite of how she was like. And I thought, ooh, she's like an undercover SJW. Like, ooh, that's kind of hot. And you know what I did? I created another tier that was called Wifey Material. And for the first couple episodes, I was literally going to put her in it. And you guys can't imagine how disappointed I was. Because, like, for some reason, I guess she is a crazy feminazi too. Like, because as the season goes on, she says stupid shit like history always changes, but her story is always the same. And that really disappointed me because, like, I was really into her character and into her in general. And I was really upset that, like, I wouldn't be able to like her anymore. And then she gets killed. And her death is heartbreaking, but, she's another bitch with no backbone, committing murders for Kai. And she never stands up to him at all, basically. And, you know, what can you do? You don't stand up to Kai. I mean, next up is, God, I'm really sad about Winter. I mean, isn't that sad, guys? Like, I thought she was going to be, like, the greatest character ever. And then, like, as the season went on, I was like, no, don't go there. Don't do that. No, I liked you. No. Now I'm going to cry. Next up is the reporter, played by the girl from Roanoke. What was that character's name? I can't even remember. Was it Billy? Is Billy the name of the reporter? I don't even know. Her character was just like how she was in Roanoke. She was a crazy person. And I really felt bad for the actress because I think she's pretty good, actually. But it seems like the writers don't think much of her because all that they did for her was make her typecast as, like, generic crazy person character. And she is, like, Kai's ultimate bitch, and she'll do anything for him, but then she kind of changes her mind near the end, and then she's the one who kills Kai, and it's like, yeah, it's a little too late, sister. So, like, just F this character. Like, another trash character who they could have written a lot better. And next up is, wow, the gay gym guy. I don't know, I can't remember his name. I can remember his wife's name, but I can't remember his. Now, already, right off the bat, like, the actor who plays this guy is a dipshit in real life. Because he made probably one of the worst rom-coms ever made called Bros. And it was a gay rom-com, and it was an agenda movie that promoted the made-up belief that Lincoln was a closet homosexual. And I just think, like, you know what, right off the bat, like, I'm not going to like this character. But surprisingly, at first, I kind of liked his character because I thought maybe he's next door, he's got this big gun collection, maybe he'll be some kind of badass hero and save somebody and defeat Kai's goons or something. But no, he is another bitch of Kai's. And he's just... like, you want to know how little people in this season think of this guy? Well, when the women complain to Kai that they're working in the kitchen and making the blue boys food, Kai says, well, I was going to put that guy on it, but you killed him. I was going to put that guy on kitchen duty. So, like, just the fact that, like, Kai was going to put him on kitchen duty instead of one of the women just shows how shitty of a character he is, because, like, Kai thinks less of him even though he's a man, and Kai is, like, a sexist, I guess, because he got red-pilled, which was another stupid agenda in the season. So yeah, there's nothing to like about him. He's a killer. He's a maniac. There's nothing to like. And next up is Meadow, his wife. And she is a really sad character because, like, nobody likes her. Like, she got to, like, age 30 and she married this gay guy, and they have, like, an arrangement where he can sleep with other men. And, you know, like, she's really, like, a tragic character. But unfortunately, she becomes really unlikable when she betrays Allie and goes back to Kai. And then she commits a public shooting and then kills herself just for Kai. And I felt like, oh, you know what? That's another character where I could have put her a lot higher, but she did something bad, and I'm not going to reward her because I like her as an actress. Because I know a lot of people like to do that with this show. You know who you are. And at the top of the fuck you category is Allie herself. Now, I was really sad about this character because she started off as the ultimate crybaby. And the whole point of her arc this season, she had a character arc where she went from an anxiety-riddled crybaby to a badass. And I thought that was a great idea for a character. But it was terribly executed because we don't get to see her in the psych ward becoming the badass character and dealing with her anxieties. And number two, the first thing she does when she comes back is she turns Kai's brother into him and has him killed. And, like, no matter what she did after that to make up for that, I was never going to like her again. And there's so many other things, like she killed the spy, Speedwagon, at the end of the season. Even though she's, like, supposed to be an independent, she talks like a Hillary supporter and says things like she's a nasty woman. That's not something an independent woman would say. That's something a Hillary supporter would say. You know, the last thing where she's a part of Valerie Solanas' cult. And so, like, ugh. And people like her just because it's Crybaby. And now the next three characters, I don't know who these people are. So I just put them there in the dull or dumb category. Another dull character was the black police, the prison guard who got in with Kai, and then she betrayed him and gave him an empty gun. I wanted to like this character, but she just had nothing to her. I mean, she was introduced in one episode. You think that she's just another zombie who likes Kai, and then she's not, and it's like, okay, that's nice. Not a very good character. So that was like a wasted potential character, but she was just really dull. She didn't even show her full boobs, too. Like, that was like, like wasted. And next up is Allie's new girlfriend in the finale. I don't know why the fuck she's on this tier list, but she's really dull and dumb, and I don't give a fuck about her at all. She's not even really a character in this season. And next up is Pedro, the illegal immigrant guy. Or was he an illegal immigrant? I can't remember, because everyone was a stereotype. So this is the guy that Allie accidentally kills. He was dull. There's nothing to that guy. And next up is the Asian councilman who gets killed in like the first or second episode. He was really, really dull and obnoxious. The patronizing speech that he gives to Kai is really cringeworthy. Yeah, just really, really dull. And at the top of the dull tier is the couple who get put into coffins. I don't know who these people even are, honestly. They were not characters. So the next tier was had potential. First you have Twisty the Clown, who they basically brought back to have fan service. I was really disappointed by this because I thought this character coming back could have been really fun. It could have been really, really cool to see this character again for some reason. I mean, there could have been other crossovers they could have done instead of this, but whatever. They suck. But yeah, he was not that good. He came on, he killed some people, and that's it. How boring. And next up is the woman who wanted to run against Kai Anderson for city council. She comes on, she gives this kind of cringeworthy speech against him, and then she gets killed. But before she gets killed, she gives one of the most cringeworthy agenda monologues ever, where she talks about every cult in history was created because of feminism or something. Every cult was born because men were mad that women were getting power. And I thought that's the most selfish, stupid, ignorant, disrespectful thing I've ever heard. It's so bad. It's so ill-informed. It's so dumb. But the only thing that I liked potentially was that she was going to stand up to Kai, but that didn't last long, so she had potential to be good, but she just wasn't. And speaking of had potential, you have Speedwagon, the head of the Blue Boys. The head of Kai's Blue Boys. This character, you find out that he is a secret spy, and then he gets killed right off the bat. It's that's what this series does so much of the time, is that you have a really good character, and then they just kill him off before they can even have a story or a character arc. And this is a character where it honestly would have been so much more interesting to follow him around and to see him infiltrate this cult, because like he was just a guy who got busted for drugs, and they threatened him and made him do it. And I thought that could have been really, really cool, because like you could have had it to where maybe he doesn't care about politics at all, and so like maybe he's just coming into this as like the objective neutral party, and he's got to infiltrate this cult, and at the same time he's got to, you know, I don't know, maybe try to help the other side of the spectrum or something. Like, he could have been a really great character, but they wasted him. And why was he even called Speedwagon? Like, just because Kai didn't want to just call him Blue Boy #1? And at the top of the hat potential tier was Kai's brother, the psychiatrist. I feel like this actor has been done dirty in every season that he's been in. Like, usually you have an actor in this show who will have like a couple of seasons where like, I didn't like that character. But then they'll have one season where they really, really stuck out and they got a chance to shine. Well, this actor, I feel like he has not gotten a chance to shine in any of the seasons that he's been in. And I feel like this is the one where he had the most potential as a character, because he was his brother, and he didn't even know that his brother was evil or that he was doing any of this. And so it could have been really cool to see him have to take him down. Like, that would have been really awesome, and nope, can't do that, thanks to Allie. And then I have no character in the had good moments tier, because I'm just not going to do that. These characters are evil, they're bad people, I don't like them. But I do have two characters in the near perfect tier. One of them is Oz, her son. Now, he never does anything bad the whole season. So, like, I can't put him any lower. And he had one of the best moments where he stood up to Kai and he corrected him on what he was saying about the Jonestown massacre. And I thought that that was really cool. So, you know, I had to put him there. Number one, the best character on the show, is Sharon Tate, obviously. I mean, she never did anything wrong. And so, you know, she's obviously going to be put in first place. I mean, there's nothing about her that makes me think that she should be any lower for obvious reasons. Like, come on. So, in general, I just said that 5 fucking times. American Horror Story Cult sucked big balls, and I could probably analyze every single scene of the entire season to tell you guys how bad it really is, but I'm not going to, because it would be a waste of time for me, unfortunately. But F this season, and really just fuck this season because of the wasted potential. Like, I really feel like this season could have been the best season of the series if it were done right. If it were a better written show with better characters and follow through. Because the idea of a character who has a cult who wants to cause chaos, I never got that this season. So, you know, that's a big... And just for making Billy Lord's character so trash, like, that was so shitty. Like, God, that was a letdown. This season was a letdown. It was just a giant wet blanket. So please like and subscribe and comment and tell me how wrong I am for ranking these murderers in the bottom tier. And then, goodbye everybody. See you soon.